Good afternoon, all. My name is Dahal. Today I am here to talk about an issue that continues to create deep division within American society. I am referring to the issue of refugees, whether US should resettle more or fewer refugees. Where I stand, more refugees should be allowed into the United States. Before I get into the topic, let me tell you a short story on how a family becomes a refugee. A 14-year-old boy was a high school student away from home and was boarded in the government's hostel. One day, school administration called his father. He went to the school to see the principal and of course his son. He met the principal. Unexpectedly, the principal handed over his son's belongings and said, "Your son is no more in the school, and the school administration doesn't know his whereabouts. These are his belongings, and you may take them home." Father could not hold tears, but whom to complain and what to say. He was helpless. Without uttering a single word, he returned home with the load of his teenage son's beddings on his back. Can you imagine how did he walk all the way home alone for 2 days? Can you imagine how did he pass the information to the rest of the family members, including his mom? Can you imagine the neighbors and the family members to hear that the only high school scholar of the family lost from the school and school administration doesn't know his situation? The story is not ended yet. The next day, local authority gave the family ultimatum to leave the country in 15 days. What could this family do? Where could this family go? And what about the house, land, livestock, and the property the family owned? It was the circular of the government and they had to obey. Now, questions are still not over. What happens to the family if the neighboring countries close the borders and ban their entry? As per the data on the UNHCR website, around 80 million people are forcibly displaced from their homes worldwide, and among them 26.3 million are refugees. That comes 0.34% of world's population. People do not leave their home and native country willingly. They are forced to cross the border due to war or political reason, ethnic cleansing, or to avoid persecution. In my experience, going back home or repatriation is the deepest wish of the refugees, but most likely it doesn't happen. Let me come to the point why the US should welcome more refugees. Refugees are not a burden or load for the country. Many employers rely on refugee workers. They not only take public benefits but pay tax and help to boost the economy of the country. Refugees add cultural diversity to the host country. For instance, the Bhutanese refugees resettlement process began in 2008, which means first Bhutanese family came into the US in 2008. Within 10 years of time, many have become doctors, nurses, realtors, entrepreneurs, professors, politicians, and general workers in many companies. A study found that US government spent around $15,000 to resettle a refugee, but in 20 years' time, Each individual pays an average of $21,000 in tax to the government, pointing to the gain associated of the refugee resettlement. According to Danny Bahar on Brookings, published on June 19, 2018, accepting refugees is a win-win-win formula, where he clearly mentions that accepting, protecting, and empowering refugees is a win-win-win and win formula for the refugee themselves, for the country of origin, and the country of destination. Most of the people in the world believe that the United States of America is the safest place and large enough to resettle and support refugees. So why are we turning them away? As the US shows global leadership, it should continue to lead on resettlement, which can encourage other countries too. Very recently, Biden administration agreed to resettle 62,500 refugees in the US, which have brought some hope and smile to the thousands of refugees living uncertain life in the camps around the world. This is me, Dahal, who was described as a 14-year-old boy at the beginning of my speech. I am here today as the government of Nepal gave me shelter to live as a refugee, and United States accepted me and opened the door for resettlement. Thank you.